We do have Siddhart Khemka also joining us on the show right now. Siddhart, hi, good to be speaking with you. Before we get on the markets, let's talk about pharma sector a bit in detail, because today that one is coming a bit under the weather, whether it's Lupin, whether it's Cipla or any of the names. Is this a dip, a buying opportunity?
Hi, Anisha. Good afternoon. So yes, I think if you look at the overall expectation from the sector has been pretty good in terms of earnings. They have delivered past few quarters, and even in this quarter, where the overall earnings for Nifty is expected to remain flattish to a marginal growth. Healthcare is expected to report a strong 15% earnings growth, which would be its sixth consecutive quarter of robust earnings. And we have seen the sharp up move in a lot of these pharma names into the last couple of weeks, and especially in an environment where market was not doing well. So I believe today the move is largely a profit booking move, and correction in this space is only an opportunity to get into some of the names which will be reporting very strong numbers. For example, companies that we like within the space, Cipla, DVs, they are likely to report strong numbers. On the domestic focused side, we have Ipca Labs, Mankind, which will be reporting strong numbers. And these are some of our preferred picks as well from the overall pharma space.
That's a take coming in as far as the pharma sector is concerned. But taking a look at what else is happening, and PSUs are also doing quite okay in the trading session. Naresh, any picks there?
So on the PSU side, there could be some bit of a bounce back in a lot of defense names. I would go with the Bharat Electronics with a strict stop loss below 284 and expect a bounce back towards 310 odd levels. But it's a tough trade. Apart from that, none of the other PSUs make a lot of sense.
Okay, so not a lot of PSUs are making sense. There's only limited and selective. That is how you have to deal with the PSU basket right now. But Siddhart, financials, that's one space which has been a consensus undervalued underperformer of sorts. Today it is doing very well. Kotak Mahindra Bank has finally come out of the slumber. What's your take on Kotak specifically, and even HDFC Bank?
Yeah, so I think the earnings growth has been pretty steady for the BFSI. However, we have seen the sector kind of underperforming, largely on back of NIMs, which have come off from the top. And we believe now with the interest rate cycle likely to change, we expect the NIMs to bottom out, and credit growth as well as more challenge that the industry was facing on the deposit side. We expect that to now marginally start improving. Investments into a lot of other revenues, including equities, were the main reason why we are seeing increasing competition for deposits. And with markets now consolidating at higher zones, we believe interest rates, so deposits growth will return to a level where the credit lending will also improve. And within that space, HDFC Bank, ICICI is our preferred pick within the private banks, where the growth has been consistent, strong, asset quality has been pretty stable, and the credit growth has been pretty strong. HDFC, we believe, yes, with the merged entity, the large NBFC book makes it difficult for HDFC to show the kind of growth. But again, at these valuations and the kind of improvement in growth from here on, things would start looking better.
Okay, so growth should start looking better. That's the hope right now. But let's take some closing ideas as well. Do remember it's the weekly options expiry today. But come tomorrow, what's expected to outperform, Kunal?
I'll go with a couple of buy calls. Bharat Electronics is something which I'll be bullish on at current levels. The stock making a very strong recovery from the 275 odd mark levels. So would suggest a buy with a target of 300. Stop loss to be kept at 278. And Dixon Tech is something which I've been bullish on with the last couple of days. Looks attractive at current levels also. So maintain the targets of 15,500. Traders who are looking at a fresh buy could look at a revision of the stop losses higher. 14,500 could be a revised stop loss for small second trade now.
Okay, so Dixon Tech and BEL, these are the two top recommendations. Naresh, what do you have for us? Some BTSC trades, STBT with sectors?
So looking at the banking space where the risk reward is in favor, today for the first time, HDFC Bank is showing a relative strength. So expecting this to make a bounce back tomorrow as well. Stop loss at 1650, target price of 1700. Second is the buy in IndusInd Bank, which is at a 6-month support zone. Stop loss at 1340, target price of 1400.
Okay, those are the top recommendations coming in. But Siddhart, what's your top recommendation right now in the sense of any sector, theme which you would want to bet on?
Yeah, Anisha, so IT is a space that looks pretty good to us. For Q2, the overall revenue growth for IT sector is likely to be decent, with client spending behavior showing positive trends, indicating that the potential return of discretionary spending, especially in some of the pockets, for example, US banking is something that we believe the spending would improve. Among the tier one players, we are positive on HCL Tech, given its strong capabilities in the data engineering, ERD offerings, plus the ERP modernization, making them well suited for the pre-Gen AI spending. So we expect HCL Tech to be a broad-based growth across verticals and geographies. Even in the Q2 numbers, margins are expected to see a 30 basis points Q on Q improvement. We expect HCL Tech to retain its FY25 revenue growth guidance in the range of 3 to 5%. So that should be a stock that one can look at in the current environment.
Okay, so that's the take. IT is one space which you are bullish on right now. And yes, TCS is expected to come out with a decent show, and perhaps in the next 1 hour itself, we'll have the clarity and it will kickstart the earnings season, hopefully in style. But taking a look at what else is buzzing around in the trading session, and overall in terms of the market, it is M&M which is holding out. NTPC, of course, is the other one. And sectorally speaking, apart from banks, it's metals which are bouncing back a bit. Energy and auto is also in the green. Talking about the auto space, Siddhart, in the coming week, of course, it will be all about what's happening to Hyundai. What's the take there? Have you done some number crunching? Are you impressed? Not so impressed?
Yeah, so Anisha, we did have a look. The numbers came in only a few days back. If you look at the overall auto space, definitely the sector is kind of witnessing a slower growth in the passenger vehicles as well as in the two-wheeler space, with the OEMs giving a lot of discounts. Hopefully, the commentaries have improved with regards to the festive season, Navratri, then we have Dussehra, then Diwali. I think hopefully things would start looking up. Some of the newer models have been launched. So we were doing the number crunching in terms of growth for the last 2 years. If you see, especially for Hyundai, the revenue growth has been around 21% CAGR, while net profit growth has been 45%. And compare that to Maruti, which has given a growth of 26% in terms of revenue in the last 2 years and 87% net profit CAGR. So growth has been in line with the industry. Valuation wise on FY24, the IPO is at coming at about 24-25 times P in FY24 terms, and while Maruti, which is the market leader, trades at about 29-30 times. The challenge for Hyundai is the capacity constraint that it faces going forward, and the new capacity would only come in the second half of FY26. The other challenge is lack of presence in the EV space, where the company has again come out and said that they will be launching the Creta EV only by the end of or the fourth quarter of this financial year. So a bit late in the cycle, but nonetheless, these are challenges that the company would face. Net, I would say that the company is the second largest player in the domestic passenger vehicles market. Valuations are decent, not attractive, and hence one could play this stock only from a long-term perspective. In the near term, because of the growth slowdown in the overall auto space, I would not expect a big bang listing, and given that this is the largest IPO, the demand from investors would be mostly filled from the IPO itself.
Okay, so that's the take coming in as far as Hyundai IPO is concerned. Yes, there is a bit of a sluggishness right now, but one needs to decide whether they're looking at the long-term prospect of the company and the sector or the IPO pop, because there are people who believe that IPO pop this time might be missing given the market mood that we have seen so far.
There comes a time when your heart calls for you to arise. Plant your feet solid into the ground. Decide your own limits, and then break right through them. Become something more. It's my time to rise.